Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Games and Things. They want to thank everybody who stopped by during their 40th anniversary sale these last 2 weeks. It turned out to be great, and they hope you had found everything you were looking for. If by chance you missed their big sale, that is okay, because they always have a great selection of items, whether that's from home theater seating to dartboards. Big or small, they've got it. Christmas is just around the corner. Visit them this week, Games and Things, or OurGameRoom.com. All right, quickie segment here. A few weeks back, we compared Jeremy Pruitt's third roster, position by position, to Butch Jones' third roster. Today, I want to take another look at it, and we'll talk about improvement. I went back and looked at the starting lineup for Jeremy Pruitt's first game against West Virginia in 2018. Arkansas was his 31st game. Let's go ahead and put up the offense. On the left, you can read for yourself. There's the 2018 guys. The right, 2020 guys. The guys with the yellow box, they're in the NFL right now. They're still on a roster. The guys in red on the right side, they were still in the starting lineup back there 3 years ago. So when you look, okay, you're not better at quarterback. Tailback, Chandler, Gray, I don't know that you're, to use our word, appreciably better there. I like Gray, but he hasn't been what I expected this year. You don't have a fullback, but you look at the Palmer's still there. Johnson versus Callaway. All right, I'd take Callaway. You saw what he did with Drew Brees a couple weeks ago. Tight end, Wood Anderson. I mean, and then you look at the offensive line. Trey Smith, a guy who entered this year on Dane Brugler, The Athletic. He did his top 50 NFL draft board, and Trey Smith was number 21. He just put out a revised list midway through the season. Trey Smith isn't in there, and he said it's because of production. He's no longer top 50 in terms of draft picks. So where do you see improvement? Am I missing something?
No, unfortunately, you see a lot of the same names at times, and they're not, one in particular is, where you're not producing, and you haven't gotten any better since that game.
I mean, you expected the offensive line to be much, 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 much better.
Yeah, the offensive line on paper is much better, but in terms of production, you have not seen the results that you expected.
The only place I think that I would say they're better is I think Gray's better than Chandler. But I don't see, as a unit, the offensive line has not played at the level I thought it would. The tight end production, and Dominic Wood Anderson was not a great player, but he's better than what they're playing with right now. So I don't see a lot of improvement there.
All right, let's take a look at defense. You got more turnover here. Trayvon Flowers, the only guy that started both of these years. Again, Shai Tuttle, Kyle Phillips, Nigel Warrior, those guys are still on pro rosters. But Tuttle to Solomon. Will, you're a defensive lineman. Tuttle, Phillips, Alexis Johnson versus Solomon, Butler, Middleton. I don't know that you're.
I'm going the left group is a lot better than that right group.
All right. Linebackers, you had Kirkland, Batuli, Kongbo, and you got To'o, Crouch, Johnson, kind of that outside. Okay, and then your secondary, I'm like you, Jimmy. I went into this year thinking with Thompson and Taylor, your secondary was going to be your strongest point, and it just hasn't been. But I don't know that you seriously missed Nigel Warrior.
Yeah.
So from year one to year three, from game 1 to game 31, the idea that it's all improved and he's building the rock, it doesn't show up yet. I mean,
But not
it
only
may be
that,
better on paper,
Yeah.
but on grass, it's not better.
Not only that, this is not as young a team as the head coach would have you believe, because I saw this number the other day that of the 15 players on offense and defense that are playing the most snaps, 20 of them are juniors or seniors. So this team is not as young. And that list you just showed, a lot of those guys started
Right.
a few years ago that are still there. So is there good young talent on this team? I think so, but it hasn't matured or it hasn't shown itself yet in games.
Of course, that comes with the results we've seen over the last few weeks, but I mean, that's pretty discouraging, right? What you just showed on the TV screen?
Yes. Well, I mean, I ran this
Is that a nice
about
way
a
of
month
saying it?
ago. About a month ago, I compared his third year to Butch Jones' third year, and then it started popping up in newspapers and websites. Thanks for not giving us credit. But not that I'm bitter. Saw that everywhere, but the response from most fans was, yeah, well, Josh Dobbs was the difference. Well, first of all, that meant that Butch Jones had recruited Josh Dobbs, and this guy hasn't. So even that doesn't work in your favor. But there was more to it than just Josh Dobbs. I don't see a Kamara. I don't see a Hurd. There are a lot of guys I don't see right now that
Barnett.
Butch Jones had. But now, all right, so let's take that out. If you're going to argue that it was just Josh Dobbs, here's Pruitt versus Pruitt. You're midway through your third year, and the roster, the lineups just don't look that much better. So,
Guarantee I'll take that
discouraged.
inside linebacker crew against the linebackers that we have on the inside today, every single one of them. And the only one I'd replace is the outside linebackers on that 18 team. And beyond that, I'd take those other linebackers.
All right. Tell you what, when we come back, let's talk about Pruitt's job status. And also, a little later, would he actually be better off if COVID cut the season short right now? That's a crazy thing to ask, but we're going to ask it. I think the answer may be crazier. Come on back.